great deals with Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre, Eminem wearing G-Star Raw. Number one objective for there was to make Lulu Guinness famous again.
There are kind of reports saying that fashion is kind of stagnating. So do you think that the resale and the community part is where they need to take it next?
The growth at Lulu was insane. What that obviously has done is brought in thousands of new customers. The AI sometimes thinks it knows something.
And it doesn't.
So
Do this as
interesting.
well.
Hi, I'm Sarah, host on Digital Cheesecake. If you are liking what you're hearing at the moment, click subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Instagram, LinkedIn, wherever you can find us, and see you next time.
So welcome back, guys, to another Digital Cheesecake podcast. So we've got myself, Jack, Sarah, Ellie, and the famous John Sadeghipoor, who is just finished up with Lulu Guinness and has worked with the likes of Topshop and FitFlop and a few other cool brands. So for those who are tuning in for the first time, don't know who you are, could you give us a bit of a background, whistle-stop tour of your background and who you work with?
Oh gosh.
And what you're up to at the moment?
You'll have to
Good intro.
keep me tight on this. So so I'm John. I was agency 7 years.
Oh.
A bit
Nice.
of a hybrid.
Your agency doing what? Agency side.
Predominantly it was e-com.
Oh, cool.
They were doing. The agency is called Big Light. They
Yeah.
focus
They're really good.
on customer
Yeah, yeah.
experience and at the time marketing, and they had some excellent British fashion brands, mainly luxury.
Yeah.
They were working on Burberry, but they also had some really cool edgy fashion brands like Firetrap jeans,
Nice.
Full Circle, Monsoon
Cool.
Accessorize. I had some good client wins like Nike, Tommy Hilfiger, Calvin
You always got
Klein,
Nike under your belt.
Uniqlo,
Names, yeah. Good name drop.
Oh.
French Connection, if you remember them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Are they not around
Yeah.
anymore?
No, they're still
You
going.
can
They're still
still
going.
get
Still
it.
going
Bits and
somewhere.
bobs.
It's like
They had a massive store on Oxford Street.
Some of their home
at the
stuff's
corner.
pretty good.
Yeah, River
Yeah.
Island,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like River Island.
Alg Australia, Deckers. So there's a few other brands
Deckers
in
are
the
good.
group.
Yeah,
yeah.
Deckers.
And obviously 7 years is quite a long time, but also in my career, kind of, it's like 7 out of the 20 because I went straight into e-com when I was at uni. And I mean, at the time when I was at uni, I was in a designer clothes shop selling suits and jackets and managed to do some buying as well. So I was an assistant buyer for a bit. So
a bit of a mix.
Yeah.
after 7 years agency, I joined Topshop.
Yeah. Good
In their
training
prime,
ground.
what was that like?
Yeah,
Everyone just has
yes,
so much love for
in their
Topshop.
prime. Oh,
I mean,
heart.
it's back, right?
I know.
Yeah.
Is it back or when's it coming back?
Next year, isn't it?
It's back. You can buy it. I mean, if
On
you,
their
if you
own
met,
domain?
Yeah,
Topshop? What?
Yeah. And if you I mean,
I
talk
did
to
not know
Moses.
that.
Moses, the marketing director, is doing amazing stuff there. They've got pop-ups. They've got amazing
Cool.
labs. It's ASOS.
I don't know they were
On the
already
High
back.
Street.
Yeah.
Because how does that work with, sorry, I'm going to dive into it a little because I'm obsessed, but how is it still under ASOS?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
They've
so
got
they're
it,
just
but
going to keep
it's-
under ASOS in general.
No, it's going to be its own thing. They've got big plans. You should obviously chat to Moses,
Yeah, I will.
the director
Cool.
of marketing there. But anyway, I went to FitFlop after
Yeah.
Arcadia, and there for 5 and a bit years. Built a team, had some amazing mentors. Denise Fender. She then moved to G-Star Raw and
Oh, yeah.
introduced me to the CEO of North America, and in the pandemic, very surreal, became US digital director.
Nice.
Um,
That's
re-
good experience, the US.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we hired the team in New York. We did some
Nice.
great deals with
Cool.
Snoop Dogg, and
Oh, that's cool.
I remember a
Everyone loves dropping
halftime
that
show,
one. Yeah.
Dr. Dre with Eminem wearing G-Star Raw. I mean, G-Star's massive in the US now.
Yeah.
It's still fairly substantial in Europe. It's largely come out of the UK, but they've just relaunched with Mark Newson, who's a British designer who actually was, part of the original success of G-Star. Ironically, the creative director, Shabanka Ray, was at FitFlop, and he was at G-Star Raw before. So there's, it's a very small industry.
Very
Yes,
incestuous.
definitely in fashion.
Obviously, G-Star was a fantastic brand. After the US piece, I went to international, so I was the international marketing director for digital, and that was a big gig. Did that for a year. There was a lot of travel during COVID, quite painful with all the
Oh, God,
the
yeah, I can
testing.
imagine. Yeah.
And then moved into consulting for a bit. I was at Lima, which was luxury health med tech
Yeah.
supplements, which is
All the
just
buzzwords, boom.
absolutely wild. But that gave me a lot of exposure to subscription models and
Yeah.
customer lifetime value and the importance of CRM and storytelling, luxury storytelling. That was very unique. Then I was consulting a little bit more and did homeware with, Joseph. I did beauty with Grown Alchemist, which is an Aussie brand.
Yeah.
And that was amazing, really good, great contacts there, split between like US and Australia. And then I landed at Urban Outfitters. So I
Yeah.
was director of marketing.
When
at
was that?
Free People.
Yeah.
I can't give you the exact date, but it was
No, it's all right.
2 and a bit years.
Years ago, yeah. They've kind of come back.
Yeah.
Urban Outfitters,
I
do
don't
you
think
Yeah.
they really went
Yeah.
anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a $4.6 billion business.
I love
That's good. That's a good amount.
I love anthropology.
But you can tell
Yeah.
now,
It's,
like,
it's an amazing.
what's
it's a-
integrated inside of it is
it's-
like the vintage style of what really is coming out with, the trends at the moment are actually pretty on point.
I'm obviously watching as a kind of from the sidelines and seeing the split strategies between the 3 main brands. Obviously,
Yeah.
Anthro, Urban Outfitters, and Free People. Obviously, I know in depth what Free People were doing, but it's interesting with Urban seeing, as a consumer, less of the Tommy Hilfiger, the Ralph Lauren, and less of the Levi's, and more of the Ayetz Frans and the BDG,
Yeah.
which they own.
Okay.
So you can see they're really building up their own brands.
seems like for
within
sure.
the brand.
Yeah.
and,
That's cool.
And that seems to be, from my perspective, their strategy, which is obviously far more profitable than buying and selling labels, which
Fair
can
enough.
be bought anywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's just a race to the bottom. And most of those are on Amazon as well, which is obviously extremely challenging. But yeah, so I in short, I have to say, you got to keep me tight on this. But
Honestly, yeah.
I was CMO, just literally wrapped as CMO at Lulu Guinness.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's been a fabulous gig. I was just, my number one objective for there was to
Smash it.
make Lulu Guinness famous again and bring Lulu back into the fold of design and bring in other designers to collaborate. I can't talk much about it, but next year friend of mine is probably that's all I should say. But yeah, so some really cool stuff, and obviously the collaborations and the understanding of heritage, British heritage and luxury brands in a more contemporary world with obviously social media.
Yep.
And the storytelling and how that has that history has to be respected and then adapted into the new Gen Z social spaces, which they had never really touched on before, which are now all live. So they've got TikTok, Snapchat,
Yeah.
obviously Pinterest is far broader. It hasn't really got an age, but it's more of the creative,
Correct.
inspiration space and storyboards. But YouTube and of course, Google and Meta. Meta, Google's been interesting, really challenging. Meta's just
Really
been
challenging.
Everyone's saying that at the
amazing.
The last few years with all
Lulu.
brands, Google's become, it's more expensive, harder
Yeah.
to get the returns, really hard. And
That's
Meta
right.
is actually quite good. It's funny how it's all gone like this. Like I started my
Yeah.
career 12, 15 years ago when I was like in Google ads and it was like, that's it forever. And now it's just classic marketing. It just has totally changed again.
Yeah,
No?
yeah. I mean, I'm also
Can't rely on them.
I'm also I mean, forever the things are getting rejected in Merchant Centre. You don't
Yeah.
know why. It's like
That's the
really
nightmare.
irritating.
I mean, my teams would hear that. Yeah. bloody hell.
PMax, obviously, most of it is becoming black box. And,
Totally.
You're entirely reliant on
Spend
them
more,
to
spend more.
to put the right product to the right person at the right place and time, which is obviously programmatic, which is, it requires a lot of trust. But yeah, flipping out of Google. I mean, I still think Google is amazing in terms of, say reach and, customers are shopping,
Yeah.
customers are searching in store, they're getting inspiration. They're still using Google. Obviously, ChatGPT has become
Affecting a lot of our
Everything.
clients.
becoming. I mean, I think ChatGPT knows more about me than
I think that's
anyone.
everyone,
Oh.
isn't it?
it's like
Yeah.
my
ChatGPT
advisor,
ChatGPT knows
mentor.
my inner
Someone
secrets.
actually,
Yeah.
sorry
Yeah.
to digress,
Yeah.
but you can
Yeah.
actually ask it at the end, like, what are my general symptoms
Yeah.
as a person
Yeah.
based on my entire chat?
Yeah.
And it will tell you
Whoa.
you've got imposter syndrome.
What do
so
I
go
need to
do
work
that.
on?
But,
Oh my God, I've
but
never
like
tried
it,
that.
but
Yeah.
it is,
I've never
it
tried that.
does know you more than hopefully,
I think
It's
everyone
sad,
suffers
but-
from imposter syndrome.
Yeah, and I think there's a bit
but
of
it's-
general one.
But it's really interesting. I don't know if I read this morning actually was that they're introducing what's it called? It's basically the ability for the developers to know when ChatGPT is hallucinating. And then
Hallucinating?
it gives
Gosh.
you yeah.
Interesting.
So
What does that mean?
Like just
so
kind of
so
freaking out.
Oh, ChatGPT freaking out.
So the AI sometimes thinks it knows something,
and
Yeah.
it doesn't.
and it articulates it as fact, but in reality, and that's why they have the legal disclaimer and the caveat. When you act, it's actually it's just hallucinating. It thinks
Okay.
it is, and we as humans
So
do this as
interesting.
well.
Yeah.
But we digress.
Wow.
I've just wrapped at Lulu, and I've just started as interim CMO at Hayley Menzies, which
Nice.
is
Cool.
an incredible it's the wanderlust, the bohemian,
Yeah.
the luxe woman who is a bit rock and roll.
Yeah.
That's so awesome. I'm
It's
into it.
it's sold in Harrods Selfridges Net-a-Porter, so I'm really
nice.
fortunate to have had a recommendation and start working with Hayley
Yeah.
and
That's cool.
That's
a
what
new
you want,
project,
though.
a new project, yeah.
You mentioned before the podcast you did some really cool things at Lulu. So
Yeah.
like, increased revenue dramatically.
Yeah, I would
That's
love
some really
to know.
cool figures.
What were some of your key things that you think were...
Yeah, what are the main things?
The growth at Lulu was insane. The collaborations with other designers and influencers and also retailers and brands. I feel like everywhere I go now I see a bag from Waitrose or John Lewis, and what that obviously has done is brought in thousands of new customers who may not have known the brand.
Yeah.
I mean, this year alone, 30,000 new customers, which is a 30% mix of the base. So significant volume
Wow.
there. And, this was pre my time when they first launched it, but, they were selling out. And customers were buying more than one to gift to their girlfriends or, whoever, but their colleagues. And they're everywhere. And they're sustainable. So there was a real like halo effect, and obviously new customer acquisition. I started with understanding the heritage of the luxury brand and the roots and the essence and the whole like customer persona. And obviously we'll talk about customer centricity, but Lulu as a brand has incredible brand love. When we launched ratings and reviews, which I was surprised that they didn't have.
Wow.
And actually, speaking to some
Was it on
luxury
Trustpilot?
brands- No, Trust.
Don't bring up that cat.
Not Trustpilot. No,
X,
but so I mean, there's a hesitancy from luxury brands to go into ratings reviews because they may not like the stars, they may not like the actual comments. I mean,
Yeah.
reality is that everything is moderated, and the AI sense checks when someone swears on a review, and it's immediately flagged, and it gives you that immediate real time qualitative data as well as quant, because we had record reviews within 24 hours when we launched.
Nice.
And with that information, obviously, you get the stars that plug into Google and the other
Yeah.
marketing platforms for click-through rate and helps for conversion rate. And then you intertwine that process of allowing the consumer to interact and engage with you as a brand, and you're building the community. Obviously, that then gives you more SEO value. You learn more about the consumer. You can lean into what they love and learn what they loathe very quickly. Customer
Yeah.
services, are able to respond to customers immediately, and they match back, exactly what's going on. So it is. And I was talking to a very big luxury British retailer the other day, and they were discussing the CEO's hesitancy for it. And I used the example of Strathbury, who have it quite hidden away in the UX. So there's nice ways of doing it. I mean, I really like the ability to show it and get customers taking selfies of themselves,
Yeah,
uploading
people love
it.
doing that.
Every
I
single
love it.
every single image or video is moderated and
Yeah, it's
approved.
gotta be.
And then if it is, you can utilize that on your email, on your social, wherever you choose.
What
I mean,
departments have you tried to get right? Like even before, what do you try and prioritize really that you see goes wrong?
in terms of
Could
ratings,
could be like the performance area that you feel, or the brand department needs to always be like when you come into a role, you're like, this is the stuff that I need to really have an impact on.
Yeah, I think for me, obviously, brand, deep understanding of the brand and the customer is key. And then usually what I'm finding is, they're struggling with awareness and traffic, but the traffic they are getting isn't converting. And, when you're looking at, say, sub 1%, it's 99% of your traffic, which may be largely paid, isn't buying. There's usually some pain points, friction points. So there's CRO MVT.
Yeah.
And then, of course, it's, loyalty. How do you incentivize or drive repeat purchase? And then that is now segueing into community. And obviously
another
social.
killer.
The reason why social is performing so well is because obviously that's where people are having conversations. More conversations, sadly, online than offline.
Yeah.
Back, compared to when we were younger. And all of that data is feeding the algorithms. So what I'm learning now is obviously if you drive more customer engagement, more community, you've got more propensity to get served. The right customers getting served your ad, click, and if you've got the right, CRO and proposition and product, they'll buy. And that in turn improves ROAS, and you can then look at your brand and invest more there. And then you may have a bit of money to spend on innovation. And
if you're lucky, that's the best if you can.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, in this is probably the most challenging climate, certainly in Britain. Certainly with
pretty bloody tough. Yeah.
Certainly with the US, with the taxes, duties, and the removal of the de minimis, there's and there's so many hurdles for retailers to jump over.
For sure.
I was talking to another outdoor retailer this week, and they were saying, we're doing well. We're up on the year. Stores are doing well. We had a good Black Friday. Digital is challenging because it's so competitive, but we're up, and we've had to take a hit on ROAS and ROI. And I think
correct. You've had to take a hit on ROAS, which is what everyone's saying.
Yeah, and you need it's a challenging conversation with CFOs, but you need to have a little bit more leniency in the current climate because it's so competitive. In addition to the challenges in the US and the UK, you've got all of the European, but now Chinese retailers. Well, can you call them retailers? Yeah, I guess they are.
Spam.
Shein.
Yeah.
Temu, AliExpress. They're doing roaring trade. They're sometimes on their apps because I've been researching them recently.
Yeah.
I've placed a few test orders. It's interesting like how quickly it does arrive from China.
Yeah, they've gotten faster and faster. Yeah.
But I've found, for the record, my personal experience, that the product has been absolutely
it's absolutely
awful.
Crap. And if people want valuable experiences and they're careful about where they're spending their money, I don't know how you can long-term scale that, but...
Yeah, the quality's really poor. Well, I think I showed you that link about the croissants that was sold on Temu. They turned a real croissant into a lamp. Yeah. So they spray painted it with like plastic. And then sold it as a lamp. Yeah. And then some guy woke up one day and the ants came in from outside the window and started eating his lamp because it was a croissant from Temu.
Fantastic.
But yeah, low quality.
Yeah. So in short, I'm a bit of a hybrid of obviously being an agency and
love it.
Brand for a long time, and I'm within luxury and fashion and clothing and accessories. I'm really excited about obviously the rise of resale and pre-loved and
I love that.
Verification of authenticity to make sure your bag is a Vivienne Westwood or a Mulberry or a Lulu Guinness, and the ability for communities, customers to resell their products potentially on the official website. And I think we're going to start to see more and more brands adopt this because of the rise of Vinted and Depop. Yeah. And eBay, let's not forget eBay's
number
really
one in Australia.
In the UK, it's repositioned itself and globally as a luxury, or kind of somewhere you can go with confidence that you're going to buy authentic Rolexes or
my last 4 purchases
Chanel
have been
bags.
fake, though.
But how do they authenticate it?
They authenticate it using AI.
Okay.
And there's a company that does the Stone Island and CP Company jackets that has, I believe this is the case,
Yeah, I'm like,
helped eBay guarantee authenticity, and in some cases, the brands, because eBay has some really strong brand partnerships. Let's not forget they work with like British Fashion Council, British Vogue,
True.
London Fashion Week, catwalks to do online live
they have a huge opportunity.
auctions, and they also have incredible tech. And so verification of authenticity, if it says it is, like sneakers, for example, it's very good at telling a real from a fake. Yeah.
So do you think that's next then for fashion? Because I can definitely tell that you love fashion. Like that.
John loves fashion.
Yeah, like that
looks.
seems definitely you're super passionate about it. We know, we love beauty. I love beauty. It's a massive industry.
Yeah.
There are kind of reports saying that fashion is kind of stagnating. So do you think that the resale and the community part is where they need to take it next to really kind of bring back?
I think it's an opportunity. I think it's an untapped opportunity.
Great.
That, when you're looking at your 26, 27, 28 P&Ls and your roadmap, and, you have to think out of the box.
Yeah.
And you can't just think, okay, how much am I going to spend on Google, Meta,
No way.
TikTok, traffic and sales? That's not enough. You need to invest in the customer and the community.
Yeah.
And you need to think, right, how else can we engage? One of the things that we did with Lulu and also at Free People was, doing things in the real world. Fashion and food has gone hand to hand for a lot of most of the luxury brands. And we did a cafe.
There's a really
in
good
Notting
wall
Hill.
painting that you did for Free People. It was like a wall painting that I saw.
Yes,
that you posted.
Yeah, so real artist. I did several of these actually. They call them murals. The artists, the artists are also picked for their look and their aesthetic and their feel, and what because they're also sometimes creators themselves. They are creatives by definition. They're artists. So taking over walls on Brick Lane or Westfield, it's been quite a fun artistic marketing activation in the real world, which then take the Westfield, for example. Being part of the Urban Group, we were able to do it because we had stores there, and I think we were second or third brand to have ever done it. And so being at the forefront of newness is also key. So alongside my passion for fashion, which sounds really cliche, innovation and being a pioneer or being the first to do something is important for me, and something that I try to keep my finger on the pulse of new tech. For example, the Apple Vision Pro, really low adoption rates right now, but the vision for Apple and Google and Meta is and probably Amazon is for consumers to have what somebody described to me as face computers, in 10 to 20 years time, where we move, say, from 5G to 6G or 7G. I mean, 6G is 100 times the speed of 5G.
Wow.
So super fast broadband and operates at a much higher wavelength. So you'll be able to access, I mean, I can't even get 4G sometimes.
I can't even get
or
5G. I think my
3G.
5G
Barely on
sucks
4G.
sometimes.
Yeah. But if you think about like the world of fashion, beauty and luxury and tech and connectivity, and it is a bit Black Mirror. However, it's already being conceptualized and planned by the big tech companies, and of course, like the LVMH group, they're already invested in 3D worlds, and the metaverse was touted for a long time, and it's used by kids to play games every day. It's just adoption. The cost of devices, you think about when iPhones came out, they're still very, very expensive. We just have, payment plans masquerading as monthly contracts.
They're hiding, I know.
So if you think about, like, if we're in the infancy of facial tech, Ray-Ban obviously have been, Exotica have been pushing with the Ray-Ban Meta glasses.
Speakers and the calling and the camera.
And and now they do look really good.
Yeah.
And, you know, they're wearable. They're not really heavy as version 1 was.
Yeah.
And not so obvious, because the first ones had like massive
They're ridiculous.
arms.
Yeah.
And my mum and dad would have them, and I'm like, this is just
Oh,
lame.
really? Oh,
Yeah.
gosh.
And now they're getting far lighter, and they're obviously utilising more of the classic designs. But and within that's definitely a space for sunglass,
Yeah.
you know, optical brands. You know, the new
True.
AirPods, for example, have not in Europe, but in the UK and US, you can translate in real time when you're having a conversation
Oh my
using
God,
Siri.
that's amazing.
So you could, you could be somewhere in the world, or talking to somebody who's not a native English speaker, and they could be speaking to you, and it's translating to you in real time. So I think there's some amazing like tech that is in its infancy that we're on the forefront of, and some amazing kind of new ways for brands and humans to communicate.
That's the important thing, isn't it? It's the tech, but also first mover advantage. So you think it's kind of going down the tech route, really?
Imagine, I mean, you know, obviously within beauty, there's, you know, all Chanel, Dior, etc. They all do, you know, where you're swiping through the filters and using augmented reality.
Yeah.
You're trying on different makeup and different palettes, and obviously I don't do that, but I've tested, I demoed it, and I think there's, you know, a lot of opportunity for that. With obviously, you know, the face computers.
Yeah, face computers.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine shopping. You know, imagine you create a global flagship store on Apple Vision Pro, which at some point will become much more accessible, and you won't have like because I think it's like 2.5K or 3K for the device, which is why nobody has one.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, not everyone's going to have one.
But
yeah.
you know, flash forward in a few years' time, where they're much more accessible and affordable, and younger people have adopted them. And you've got all the social networks on there, and you've got the luxury brands on there, you've got the beauty brands on there, and it's cool, hip, and fashionable to do so. And you don't look like a Tron, you know, or a Daft Punk.
Yeah, it's way cooler.
You know, it's not,
I do like Daft Punk.
Like from Back
I
to
love
the
Daft
Future.
They're
Punk.
good.
Who doesn't love
So
Daft Punk?
good.
Well, they say
And the movie Tron, that's good.
right. So they say, and Audi did a fantastic job with Tron, because it's basically all Audis. And it's interesting because all of their new stuff looks very similar to what they were doing back in the noughties with the films and movies. And that's the other thing, like the music and the film industry are setting up their own like agencies that are focusing on innovation, tech, and how that aligns with artists.
Yeah.
And I've had several conversations, more than 3 different labels that are all, you know, really, really investing in the future, and how that aligns with merch.
Correct.
Products.
Merch, brands.
Yeah.
We have that at the moment with, a lot of the brands that we're working with that are the luxury, where we've tried to go, okay, performance with just the carousel stuff and all of that. Now it is, every piece of content is with creators and artists and musicians, and there's a story behind everything. I've spent more in storytelling, strategy, campaign planning than I ever have in performance marketing. So it's like, because you need it, and people love the story, and they get so into it.
The storytelling is absolutely key.
Yeah.
And obviously the creative storytelling.
Yeah.
You know, so how far you can push the needle on doing something unique and different, which grabs attention.
Yeah.
And algorithms, which obviously helps the
a
brands
lot.
stand out. And I think, you know, obviously that's where sometimes agencies are really well positioned to do so. But every now and again, you know, having worked with female founders that are really creative,
Yeah, that's
you know,
also
they're
amazing.
genius, and you know they've sometimes got these ideas, and they, you know, they articulate it, and then, you know, the in-house teams can help deliver.
That's what I think. What have you thought as well with the in-house and agency mix? What works for you?
I mean, the short answer is a hybrid.
Yeah, I love a hybrid.
Having an agency that's set up to be fast-moving, you know, agile, with the whole point of agencies, you tap into incredible talent,
Correct.
the best talent in the industry. That might be changing marginally now with obviously, you know, brands investing more in their own teams in-house.
Totally, yeah.
And so that attracts obviously talent. The other thing as well is with margins and profitability being challenged, let's not forget that agencies, of course, they make a living of creaming off, you know, the margin from the media, and they are also incentivized by spending. And if you're not able to spend as much as you were last year or as your competitors, then obviously you've got to take the thing of either really pulling back. Investing in-house is definitely a good thing, but having the ability to tap into the talent of an agency is ideal. Yeah.
One of the things you mentioned was
yeah.
keeping at the forefront of marketing. So how do you do that? And then how do you know if it's a good idea? Do you speak to peers on some things and then test others?
I think the community is key. You
Yeah.
know, keeping in touch with your network, following all of the news. I mean, being friends with the editors is quite helpful.
Oh, that's good.
And
Fair.
certainly
You need that in luxury.
right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if you haven't got those relationships, then someone else is going to be on the front page or the
Correct.
context page, or the gift guide, or
Yeah.
the trend report. Or the top brands that and they're talking about social a lot more. They're shifting obviously
Totally.
more.
Every
social.
PR agency is living
And-
and breathing that shift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what I love as well is, for example, with Sherlock's, is that all of the editors there are also creators /
Yes.
freelancers, and they can
They've
all.
done he loves Sherlock's. They've done a
Everyone
great
loves
job.
Sherlock's.
Yeah,
You've mentioned
I love
Sherlock's
it.
before. It's
I've
good
worked
for that
with Sherlock's
brand.
for years.
Yeah.
I mean, the teams that I've worked with and managed, naturally gravitate towards it because they are a strong, viable alternative or complementary to Condé Nast, which is obviously the
Correct,
leader
yeah.
within luxury and fashion. And they're also really personable.
Relatable.
I mean,
Yes, to
I saw
everyone.
one of my team at Free People at the 40th birthday party of one of the editors the other day on Instagram, and it's like, oh, that's so good. They become. I think within our industry with fashion, particularly in digital and media, is you can't help but fall in love with one another and you become friends.
Totally.
Oh,
It
that's
seems
nice.
like that. That
And-
surprised me
Yeah,
a
it
lot when I
does.
moved into
That's-
luxury.
Yeah.
Is that there's that real piece of like, I mean, community is such a word, but it is that
Yeah.
like relatable pieces and trust with other people.
And also, it's the events. You're going there, you're having a good time, and also you're pushing your brand or product.
Yeah.
And talking about the future, you're talking about the past. Have you seen this creator? Have you seen this artist? Have you seen this, musician? And also, I love when you have all three.
amazing.
For a brand, if budgets allow.
I think we'll
you're
see
able to
more with the
scale.
concert space and like music next year, even more so with brands, which
Absolutely.
will be exciting.
Yeah, I mean, there's been some hiccups though. I mean, I don't want to mention Coldplay, for example. That
Oh, that was hilarious.
I don't think I would be
but,
sponsoring Coldplay, but
No.
It needed to come
It's-
out anyway because everyone.
It's-
Yeah.
it just kind
I
of
don't
went a
know
bit
if it did.
crazy.
Personally,
I don't know
I
if
think
it did.
that
I think
took
If you're putting
over
yourself in a
headlines.
public situation,
Yeah.
then stuff's going to happen.
There's
I mean,
like personal lines, isn't there?
Yeah.
I mean, so obviously, I think talking about like community, I found the DLC is particularly
Good channel.
Yeah,
for
it's
you.
good.
Digital
it's
Club.
particularly good. I don't know if it's a secret, but it
No.
feels like a secret.
It's exclusive.
Feels like I mean,
it's
I
a bit
try,
exclusive.
I try and
It's a
get
bit
people in
secret,
there.
yeah.
It is cutthroat these days. I
Yeah.
cannot get them in.
Right. Yeah.
So now it seems like it is. But like you
The-
build that over years.
Yeah, 7
Yeah.
years.
7 years.
But it's
Yeah.
good to keep it
Yeah.
exclusive
Wow,
because
7 years.
marketing's so inclusive, and I think
True.
having a community which is exclusive, it makes it an area where you feel more safe to ask things.
Correct.
True.
Correct.
Some great questions
Yeah.
in there.
Yeah, I mean, so
Yeah.
for those listening, DLC is Digital Leaders Club. There's a WhatsApp group, and there's some amazing questions and answers,
Yeah.
and also like Cloudflare's down this morning, and I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'm down. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay,
So
so we're all
funny.
together in it.
It's
Exactly,
like a
yeah.
huge WhatsApp
It makes you
group
feel
with
so
what
much
we're
better when you've
saying.
had a
Yeah.
shit day of
Yeah.
something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So yeah, I think the community is key. The industry is very small.
Yeah.
If you want to get talent as well, to recruit and build up a kick-ass awesome team, then that's definitely a place to ask for recommendations and referrals. Quite a few messages get deleted. I'm not quite sure what that's
Oh,
about,
these
but
guys.
I'm happy
no,
to
I
say
know,
that's
yeah.
totally me.
that-
Delete.
yeah.
Good
Evil
moderator.
laugh
Yeah.
after.
There's only 2 rules, isn't there? So it's
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
good.
It's
No
true.
selling, no recruiting.
But I think-
Everything else goes.
I forget to sell.
All the crazy stuff.
Our roles are, let's not forget, our roles are incredibly challenging.
Yeah, we talk about this a lot.
Yeah.
You know,
Really
so
hard.
So having a good community or a good network is so important.
Yeah.
Because
A lot
not
of
everyone
emotion.
in the real world is on the same wavelength.
They don't get it.
That's what we're trying to do. I mean, certainly for me, with the CMO remit, it's, you're talking to departments that really don't have that understanding of all the acronyms and all of the things that you're really trying to do. But one thing that they do all align on is customer centricity and talking about customers. Like, I was talking to a store manager this morning, I'm going over to meet her next week and in Chelsea, and it's going to be, for me, it's going to be great because I'm going to get that first hand, experience of what the customer's saying, what are they wearing,
Which is so valuable.
what are they buying, what are they not buying, who are they, where are they from, how can we lean into those demographics, and also where there may be gaps that we can use marketing, obviously, and digital to drive footfall, inspiration. So they're already coming to the store with an idea and a mindset of buying.
Yeah.
So trying to talk about the funnel, but we're talking about utilizing digital to drive higher purchases in store and vice versa.
Customers number one, and a lot of companies forget that, I think. I won't go into my experience this week. But I think it's like a make or break, isn't it? I think for brands.
Well, this week obviously is Cyber Week. It was Cyber Monday on Monday. A lot of brands have got into the black. That's the whole reason of Black Friday, is to get back into the black.
Yeah.
And to be up on the year.
Yeah,
exactly. End the year with some
but
positives.
you have to be able to fulfill stuff as well.
It's really, for me, it's really not a nice. I mean, in fact, I can probably say for everyone, it's the most stressful. Grey hair growing, anxiety driven, where you're mainly working over a weekend to drive lots of traffic and sales at discount. But really, if we take a few steps back, that's probably not the best strategy.
No, not for some brands.
Not for any brand.
Yeah.
I think more of a consistent, maybe lower level of sales is the way forward. And we have to kind of break the cycle. There are some brands like Patagonia which are well, versed in and documented in, publicly communicating that they're not taking part and they don't believe in it. And that's why I'm, kind of encouraged by circularity within fashion. I did a lot of work with by rotation at Lulu Guinness, where we were letting our bags and vintage pieces be rented.
Ah, okay.
Great idea.
Which and also the clientele at by rotation is next level. I mean, I was, whenever I've been into the house of by rotation in Mayfair, there's always been an amazing level of celebrities, creators, but also customers.
Surprising, I didn't even know that with them.
Yeah, they have a VIP program.
Yeah.
They nurture and work with not just stylists, but the actual, celebrities themselves.
Cool.
It actually started as a celebrity wardrobe, like rent a celebrity wardrobe.
But
it's turned into a real community where anyone can sign up.
Yeah,
both men and women.
It's the only one I use.
And you
can
rent your wardrobe.
So what happens if there's actual damage to it? Do they actually purchase the product?
Well, you have to ask Ashita from By Rotation.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
But I think the community customers on By Rotation seem to be fairly respectful.
They are, I do.
I
use it.
I do use it.
Yeah.
With all my expensive pieces, I trust that they're like all respectful.
Yeah,
good.
But they've got
Good point,
people are renting other people's pieces.
Yeah, it's got your own
so
clothes
why
on
would
there.
you not treat something with respect? And anyway, in short, they've got Chanel, they've got Dior, they've got all sorts of French fashion houses on there, which quite honestly you wouldn't be buying unless you had very deep pockets. It's far easier to be able to borrow and then obviously return. And if you've got products, I just think it's fantastic. We did it. I did it because I wanted to do it for ages. But for Lulu, obviously, I went to the archive in Stroud in Gloucestershire, and I saw thousands of vintage pieces that were almost encapsulated in these boxes securely, and documented and logged. And I was like, we need to let these bags are so fabulous. We need to let them be borrowed and well, ideally be bought, but they're priceless, so you couldn't sell them. But it was just a really good collab, and obviously we didn't
convince me to go on
did,
it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's it. You know, we can't just be buying and consuming on Black Friday every year.
No.
You know.
Yeah.
It's just not obviously it feels like for some a necessary evil.
Brands we work with decided no, none of them did.
Lots of brands are pulling back. I mean, some brands have gone, 90% off.
I mean, it's just
fast fashion
insane.
predominantly, but certainly if you're a luxury brand and you're not participating in it, I really respect that.
Same.
And I think, if you can lean into your ethical, green, not greenwashing, but actual real world, doing something good on that weekend.
For sure.
It's just, for me, it just makes me, it encourages me.
Yeah.
Because after, let's say 20 years in the industry, you can easily feel a bit disillusioned. What are we, why are we,
what is the right
why
word?
are we,
Yes.
why are we having, why are we selling millions of these pieces, but at the same time, that newness on a smaller scale does drive emotion. People buy with their hearts and not their heads, and that's obviously coming back to the whole creative and storytelling piece, and the respect for heritage and luxury and the craft.
We love that, and the craft. We say that with all of our clients. The craft.
Right,
yeah.
but not having to resort to heavy discounting.
I think it'll be interesting next year.
Yeah. Well, that's what it started off as, is 90% off, and the discounts aren't even that much this time. So we'll see where it goes.
Well, I think we might need to wrap up. We're nearly going over time.
Well, thanks a lot, John.
Yeah.
And
Thank you
for
very
everyone
much.
who's listening, give us a like, comment, and share.
Thanks very much.
See you next time.
Thank you.